Exactly. So that's back to your premise on why the customer is always right, even if they don't know it, because in that process, if it's tedious, they might churn and find another alternative, which is just easier. So at the end of the day, they find the path of least resistance in general. So if you look at the iGaming landscape from a helicopter view, does the operators generally understand this? Are they generally on top of things when it comes to payments systems, or do you feel like there's still more education needed, let's say, from many
So,
operators?
yeah, the best buyers understand both. The best buyers will have a core understanding of cost, and then the best buyers will have a core understanding of really what makes something valuable and what doesn't make something valuable. So there are sort of a whole host of sort of providers out there. I think we're going to use Brazil as sort of the real example today. So, I have a friend that works in the Brazilian market, and we would hang out, and he would effectively almost brag to me about how cheap he could get Pix, right? Which is the most popular online payment method in Brazil. It's an online bank payment method. It allows basically anyone with a bank account in Brazil to make a deposit instantly directly from their bank account.
It's a government solution, right? Pix is to give
It
some more
is.
context. It's like similar to Swish in Sweden, although Swish is a consortium of banks,
That's true.
but in Brazil, Pix is a government instituted, like mandatory solution that banks have to offer, right, to make payments easier and cheaper and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different from your standard scheme, but very similar at the same time. So the Central Bank of Brazil basically provides or sort of sits over these other banks, and of course, then they have the payment scheme that then goes under that, which obviously allows for the transaction to take place, simultaneously or near instantly between two accounts locally in Brazil. So it's an account-to-account transaction, meaning that the money moves from your bank account, as say a player, directly to a collecting bank account.
Right. So it removes the need for the intermediary, as in Visa or MasterCard, for example.
Absolutely. So you say it removes an intermediary. I think there's probably been a lot of conversation about, there's still an intermediary here, right? It's not just you and the bank, it's you and the PSP, and then the PSP has a relationship with the bank, and then the bank itself then has a relationship with the bank of, the Central Bank of Brazil. So whilst technically, on the surface of things, you're absolutely correct. Like there is always some sort of overlying governance that generally takes place between, on any scheme, just as there is even in sort of cryptocurrencies, without the miners, it wouldn't be possible to be able to sort of transact sort of Bitcoin, because they make part of sort of that triangle between the blockchain to make it possible. So, yeah, no, there's always sort of an overlying or an underlying sort of premise to any sort of bank payment scheme, and it rarely takes place without some sort of intermediary being in between the two parties, basically.